Okay, this is our third GSL Code S champion in a row for LG Incredible Miracle / SK. It is Minchul MC, the red Protoss down in the bottom right of Whirlwind. And the guy who's just beating GSL Code S champions, like, no problem. It's Mr. StarTale Curious, the Blue Zerg in the top right.
Yeah, and you mentioned the map is Whirlwind. This is one of our new additions as well. This is actually one that I like quite a bit. You know, I mean, my opinion's still out on Kidaria at the moment after seeing out how some of the positional imbalance played yesterday during the EG Liquid set, even though Azini was able to overcome the game against DeMuslim despite kind of the bad positioning he had at the beginning. But I do think that one's going to have to be forced cross-spawn very, very soon. This one, though, I like quite a bit. It's a big map. It's got a lot of attack paths. It leads to long macro games without them being unnecessarily so, because not any base is incredibly well protected. So I just think it's fun.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen a ton of games on it still, so every single time I'm learning a little bit more about it. And right now, I mean, MC versus Curious, again, this is another match that you might see in a GSL like round of 8 or something like that. I mean,
GSL finals.
Yeah,
I mean, this could very well be.
At least round of 8.
Yeah.
But I mean, just the quality of every player that's played so far has just been immense. These are guys that you've seen many, many, many times before. MC still on the hunt for his third GSL Code S championship. Curious is one of those guys who's already proven that he can take games from those guys, so maybe he's going to be in the hunt as well. But man, these games so far have been incredible quality, and it's one thing to have 45-minute games where you know, something happens and one player clearly has the lead but just kind of stalls, plays with his food a little bit. Used to get that all the time right after retail on maps like Kulas Ravine.
Right.
But it's another to have the insanity that we just saw and still be very, very close.
And actually a little shiver a second when you said Kulas Ravine. I don't know why. It just like gave me chills. Like, no, thank you.
Oh, a bad shiver.
Yes, like the,
not a nostalgic shiver of joy.
Like the hair standing up on end on the back of my neck as like there's a mass murderer around the corner. That kind of.
Does that happen to you a lot?
You know, every couple days or so.
The most dangerous place on earth.
No, I actually love San Francisco. Like, I just have never felt unsafe walking outside of my house after dark. It's beautiful. I really have fallen in love with the city. It's bad. So.
I lived in Oakland, and that really is one of the most dangerous places on earth.
That's different. I lived in St. Louis,
and I still never really felt in any danger or anything.
Right.
Like, you get some weird smells now and again. You get a couple of crazy people, but they just kind of mutter. They don't really have knives or anything.
Right.
So, I don't know. But now I live in San Leandro, which is the suburbs.
Yes.
So it's awesome.
Suburbia. Also, want to remind you guys, we are giving away 3 copies of Heart of the Swarm on our page. So head over to tinyurl.com/IPTLHOTS. Again, that's tinyurl.com/IPTLHOTS. But for now, 3 hatch, no gas coming up for Curious. No real surprise there. We did see his teammate Life decided to go for a Muta build on Entomb Valley earlier against Seed. It didn't work out too well for him because of Seed's awesome defense. But things are looking a little more normal for MC with a Forge Fast expand rather than a Gateway expand like Seed did.
All right, so I just want to point out again that LG Incredible Miracle, every time they've played in one of our team leagues, they've won the whole thing. This is a chance for StarTale and Curious specifically to sort of, you know, get LGIM started on the wrong foot to try and break that trend. And I'm anxious now, actually. I'm trying not to use the word curious because I normally do. In this situation, I feel like it would just be a bit much. So I'm very anxious to see what Curious is going to do to MC, who's well fortified already at his front.
And MC, you know, we've seen a kind of a transition lately from Protoss players away from getting +1 before you start Warpgate research. Not MC. He wants to put on pressure and he wants to put it on quick. And that's not really a surprise knowing his play style. I mean, he can just switch between extreme aggression and awesome macro builds. So he's a very well-developed player. But to see him think about going, and there's a Stargate coming up at the front. Actually, before he gets 3rd and 4th gas, and after he got +1 weapons at the Forge, which is kind of a curious way to get those. But still. Would not be surprised to see big aggression out of it.
It's more of an MC way than a Curious way. Curious plays Zerg, so see, it sucks when they have a really common name. Like, if there was a Zerg player named a Zerg, I would just be like, oh, this sucks.
That's why I felt so bad before because I used the word life. I was like, oh, life is bad, and then I was like, oh, wait, no, that's actually life there.
Oh, that's what you were trying to say?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I wasn't trying to BM life. No, my God.
I really did not catch that at all.
No, I was, anyway, now I feel like a jerk. Well, Curious, layer tech coming up, and actually pretty quick layer tech before he gets Evolution Chamber, Roach War, and any of those things. Those are coming up afterwards, so it looks like he detects maybe a little bit of pressure could be coming in, and MC starting to add on to his Phoenix count. Actually, just going to go ahead and use those to clear out Overlords right away, but no additional gateways or anything thrown down at the moment.
I wonder if MC is going to be using any Void Rays, perhaps? I'm not sure, because the spawn locations are on the same side of the map, so Void Rays' slow speed isn't as hindered as it normally would, but it looks like MC really just wanted like 2 to 3 Phoenixes very quickly, and then just kind of gave up on it now that the Robo is almost... not almost done, but
yeah, it's on its way.
It's on its way. So, and we're not seeing any more Phoenixes coming out. So I feel like he's just going to use them for scouting. Kind of an expensive route, but maybe he had something in mind and just kind of switched gears there.
Okay, well, he's making his way right up the gut now. We do see a couple of Spore Crawlers. They're starting to hit the field, but none are established quite yet. The one in the main is actually going to finish before anything else. But MC gets a great look at everything that's going on here. He sees exactly what the tech is going to be. He saw that there was no Hydralisk Den as well in response to Stargate, which is pretty critical for him. And he moves right into a robotics bay.
That's true. I mean, and this still accomplishes a lot of scouting. Obviously, he's going to force all these Overlords back home, which is nice because that basically means Curious is going to have to use Lings and stuff like that to do his scouting instead. And so it does give him some breathing room. It is kind of an expensive route, like I said, but now he can switch gears. Curious is going to have to be aware that air units are a possibility, so it is going to change his playstyle. It's making your opponent make decisions, which is always a good goal to have in an RTS. The more decisions they have to make, the more likely they are to make the wrong ones from time to time, and you can capitalize on it.
All right, well, MC, Telltale, a lot of sentries for him. Does love his sentry play, sentry control. Obviously, is hitting out with an Immortal as well, and I wonder what that's going to make his opponent do. Oh, apparently throw up a Spire right away. But, of course, Robotics Bay is already finished up. MC going for a third base and starting his Colossus production.
Yeah, Spire on the way and Infestation Pit researching the pathogen glands currently. There is a sentry still back at home, so it shouldn't matter. Actually, no, not a sentry. He brought all of them with instead of just a hold position Zealot. But he is trying to establish this third base, as you said. Curious is still on 3 himself. That actually could be a cue for him to go ahead and try and take a 4th. So we'll see if he does that, as Macro Hatch is coming up now. Pathogen Glands on the way with that first round of Infestors and Lings. So Mutiling Infestor looks like what he's gearing up for, even though he built that Roach War and he hasn't actually used it yet.
4th base coming out as well, and we'll see how passive he wants to be. This could be another one of those maps that plays out similar to late game in Tomb Valley. Not early game where there's a potential to cut off faces and things like that, but late game when Zerg players just kind of sit back and let Protoss players kill themselves on them. But MC, in the meantime, does have a Colossus coming up now, does have range on the way, so he's building towards a very strong army, but doesn't have a ton of units on the field right now.
That's right, and I mean, you don't need as many units as Protoss. Obviously, Colossi with their great splash damage, sentries able to keep all of the units you do have alive longer. Immortals obviously have the hardened shield to keep them alive longer, but there are quite a lot of Lings from Curious, some of them getting trapped there. One more force field a little bit earlier may have snagged him even more kills, but MC actually pulling slightly, no, not slightly ahead anymore. 13 Mutalisks are on the way, so now it's pure defense mode. If he can outlast these Infestors, that's a good move there, picking up one of those Infestors long enough for it to be killed off by the sentry. And good force fields trapping in all those Lings. So, like I said, MC has less units, but he does have ways of keeping them alive a lot longer. Now we have 15 mutas in production, though. This could get hairy very soon. Yeah,
very much so. Especially because, you know, he's not reinvested back into Phoenixes. He doesn't have Blink on the way. So, where this failed a bit for StarTale Life, it could work out pretty well for Curious. If he's able to get anything done. And as we can see, the flock of mutas is going in behind just as MC moves out on the map.
I don't know what Curious should do here because MC is not slowing down. He's not turning around. All these probes could be forfeit from MC. If he tries to run them away, it's going to be a little bit late, but MC is just going to keep going here. He's got a force that he's comfortable with, and that many mutas, even if they came back to respond to that, would get thinned out, and there'd be a lot of wasted time trying to get back to his units there, but MC cleaning up at home and abroad. Interesting.
Okay. And right now, as we can see, Curious is actually supply blocked, so we had to invest into 5 Overlords right now at exactly the time that he didn't want to, but he's still doing massive damage to the anti-air here for MC. Not really much that's been able to be done. This Phoenix going to try and pick off as many units as he possibly can while more Stalkers are warped in, but nothing is stopping this force up in the front for MC.
Not enough on the ground for Curious. I mean, this many mutas could have been successful, but MC was comfortable with the ground lead that he had in Curious's base, so he just kept going. And, you know, this many links coming out would be nice if they were all together, but they're spread across 5 hatcheries at the moment, so it's going to be tough for Curious to do anything. These mutas now getting picked apart at MC's base, and MC really has nothing slowing him down in Curious's base.
No, not at all, as where's the infestation pit? Is it inside of the main? So yeah, he could still make a couple of infestors and mutas and things like that at his other bases that he's establishing across the map. Finally, the anti-air is being beaten down a little bit, but this Colossus has racked up so many kills now, and it's still going to be alive.
Yeah, the Zealots and Colossus combo just keeping all the Lings down, basically just killing them all. And the Mutalisks, because MC did not need to reinforce up at Curious's base, he could just warp in as many Stalkers as he needed. He's still making Phoenixes as well. And this is the point in the game where the Protoss is up by 40 supply.
Yeah, and things are looking increasingly bleak now for Curious. He's already lost 33 workers, but he's killed a lot of his opponents as well. So there's decent parity there, but now that he's lost layer tech, he's losing all of the rest of his infrastructure buildings as well, and MC just still has nothing that can defeat this force up at the front. There's only 6 mutas and 1 Zergling, and that is it for Army.
Yeah, even after Curious's amazing play against Seed and MVP, MC, I mean, you can only do that for so long, just keep beating these Kodos champions. Curious GG's, and LG Incredible Miracle takes their first match in this Group B play.
What a great best of 9 we had today, though. I was just really